Don't buy that palazzo pants yet. You can sew this same wide leg palazzo pants and even start selling it. And I will show you the easiest beginner friendly method step by step. Hi, I'm Lois Addah. Let's begin. So we folded our fabric using our tie circumference of 37. So 37 divided by 2 is giving us 18.5. So we folded 20.5 including seam allowance, and then we drew a starting point. Now from that starting point, we placed our tape from minus 1.5 and took the full length of the trouser to be 42 inches and added 2 inches seam allowance and took the crotch length of 12 inches, but we used 13 inches because it's a palazzo pants, and then we took the measurement of the knee, which is 25.5. Now on that crotch line, we marked 1 inch for seam allowance. After marking the 1 inch, we are going to divide our hip by 4. The hip we are working with is 55 divided by 4, which gave us 13.75. So from that allowance line, we are going to mark 13.75. So 13.75 plus that 1 inch seam allowance is going to give us 14.75. So I'm going to place my tape on the waistline, that starting line, and mark 14.75 and then go inwards by half an inch. So from that half an inch I went inwards. I'm going to draw that line to the crotch line, okay? So that will be our crotch length. So next we are going to mark our crotch extension. So to mark the crotch extension, we are dividing our tie by 2. We are working with 37 divided by 2, which gave us 18.5. So from that allowance point, we are going to place our tape and mark 18.5. Marking that 18.5, we are going to use our armhole cuff, to connect it. So that part now we are connecting, that is where most of the beginners make mistake. The arc should be just very little so that you will not have a funny shape around that area. So next we are going to work on the knee circumference. So to achieve the knee circumference, we are going to divide the tie by 2. So we are working with 18.5. So 18.5 divided by 2 is giving us 9.25. So measure your tie circumference that you use, divide it by 2. Whatever you get, use it to mark. So in this case, I have 18.5 divided by 2, which gave me 9.25. So I will mark 9.25 all the way down in order for me to centralize the trouser. So I'm going to connect those lines. So after connecting the line, we are working with the circumference of 35 inches for the knee. So 35 divided by 2 is giving me 17.5. So 17.5 divided by 2 is giving me 8.75. I will place my tape at the midpoint 8.75 and mark the starting point, and at the other part I'm going to mark 17.5. I will do the same for the down part as well, since it is a free palazzo pants. So the knee circumference and the bottom circumference is just the same. So I'm using my pattern master to connect all the lines, and then at the crotch area I am going to use my pants cuff to connect it, just the way you see me doing. So after connecting, we are going to go to the waist area to connect. So now for us to connect that waist area, all I need to do is to use my pants cuff to connect from the hip with that 1 inch seam allowance, take it all the way down, and then after marking we'll go to the waist area and then we'll go inwards by 1 inch. This part is optional. You can decide to remove that 1 inch or work with the whole circumference you have. After that, connect it to the hip circumference allowance line, and then we are done. So next we are going to go to the upper part of the waist, and then we are adding half an inch for seam allowance, while the crotch line area, that is the crotch depth, we are going to reduce half an inch. Then you connect the line. So it is time for us to cut what we have all out. Now, it is very important for you to note that there are some fabrics that require you to pin, so please use your pins to secure before cutting, and also make sure that you cross-check your measurements before cutting. You also realize that while cutting I did not draw my fabric, so just cut your fabric gently. So after cutting, we are going to fold our fabric into two and then place our front panel on the back panel. So you might be wondering how many inches we folded for the back panel. We folded 22.5 inches, okay? So that 22.5 inches is what we are working with, and then we drew a starting line where the front panel started. For the butt rise, the upper part we kept allowance of 3 inches, and then we have the full length of the trouser. So to do our crotch extension, we first of all drew a straight line from that crotch extension and went down by half an inch, meaning that that slant area, that part, the crotch extension is not straight. So next we are going to introduce our seam allowance. So it is a plus size trouser, so we are using 2 inches. For a normal size you can use 1.5 inches. So I marked 2 inches all the way down, and then at that curvy area you are going to reduce it a bit. So I used my free hand to connect it. You can use your straight ruler to connect. While getting to that curvy area, I use my armhole curve to connect, to sink it into the crotch extension. Okay, so after drawing it, it is time for us to take our butt rise measurement. Now to take the butt rise measurement, so we are using 2.5 for our butt rise. Okay, so go up by 2.5, place your tape at that line and then mark 2.5. After marking 2.5, draw a straight line all the way down to sink it into the side area. Okay, just the way I place my pattern master, that is exactly how you are going to place your ruler to connect. Then after that, we'll go to the knee area. From that knee point, we are going to mark 2 inches all the way down. That's our seam allowance for the coupling. Remember, we did not add any seam allowance for the front panel, so the back panel carries all the allowance. So next we are going to mark our thigh extension measurement. So we are going to divide the hip by 2, which is 13.5. Fold your tape into 2 and mark the midpoint just the way I did. After marking the midpoint, at that midpoint place 13.5 again and then mark the hip circumference. Okay, so that becomes our crotch extension for the back. So in this case now the crotch extension is 2.5. So we are going to use our pant curve and then connect it to the knee point all the way down. After that, it is time for us to cut what we have all out. Okay, so if you've watched up to this point, please subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell so that you will not miss out on any of our beautiful tutorials. We upload new videos every week, so please drop your meaningful comments and then I will meet you at the comments section. So after cutting, it is time for us to sew what we have, because we've already cut the front panel and then this is the back panel that we are cutting. Okay, so while cutting, just see the way I am cutting the fabric. At this point, beginners make mistake by not cutting at the exact line that they chalked. So mark the exact line and cut what you have all out. Okay, now this is the front panel. That half an inch we came down, we are going to remove the half an inch. We are done cutting. It is time for us to sew. So after cutting, this is what we have. We have the front panel, so we are going to mark half an inch on that crotch line and then we are going to sew it with half an inch all the way down. After sewing, we are going to press open it and bring it and show you. So next we are going to work on the back panel. This is it. We'll sew the same and iron. So after sewing, this is what we have, guys. It is looking so neat. So for you to have a clean finishing just like this, I am going to show you the exact method of how I achieve this. Okay, so this is a back panel on the table. So placing the front panel on top of it, the back side is facing each other, meaning that we are sewing from the front side. Okay, now we are going to use 1/4 to sew it all the way down. So I'm using my pin to demonstrate. After pinning, I'm going to sew all the way down and do the same for this other part, meaning that we are going to sew from the front first of all. After sewing with 1/4 all round, then we are going to turn our fabric to the wrong side. Okay, we'll turn it to the back side and then sew from the back half an inch all the way down. We'll do the same for the inner side and then fold the downside with 1.5 inches. So we are done sewing the sides of the trouser. This is what we are having. It is looking very neat. So we have to take the circumference of the waist. The waist circumference we have is total of 57 inches after measuring all round. So we use that 57 inches to cut the waistband. Okay, so after cutting the waistband, we placed it on fold and then we have the measurement of 1/3 after folding half an inch inwards. So this is it. We folded half an inch inwards and we have 1/3 as the band height. Okay, so next we are going to cut our elastic. Her actual waist circumference is 47, so we subtracted about 10 inches. Okay, we have 38.5. It is 1 inch elastic we are using. So we are going to fold the elastic into two, just the way I am demonstrating. Then we are going to sew it all round. After sewing it, we are going to put it inside of the waistband and then put the waist of the trouser inside of that same waistband. We'll sew it. After sewing it, we'll run the middle part, we'll iron it very well, we'll bring it and show you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please watch this next video on your screen for another easy sewing tutorial. I will see you in the next class.